Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to another video here on the Wound Up Watch Reviews channel. And in this video we're not going to be reviewing a watch. Instead we're going to be introducing a brand new series to you guys. This is the Dream Watch Collection, episode number 1. So let me explain. This series is going to be me just letting my creativity run free in terms of what I would like to see in a dream watch collection. So, if I had infinite amounts of money, this is what I would get. And I'm going to make hopefully a bunch of videos on this subject so that you guys will be able to find out about some new watches that you may have never seen before. And yeah, so it's going to be great. So while this series is going to have the basis that I have an infinite supply of money to buy watches, I will feature pretty much every watch that interests me and that I would like to have in a watch collection. So I will feature everything from a cool Seiko to, a masterpiece of a watch that costs like $50,000 and even more. Oh, and also down below in the video description, you will find a link to a Google spreadsheet document where you will be able to see all of the watches featured in these episodes, and also there will be some links to every watch so that you get to the specific point in the video where they are featured. And this spreadsheet might not be very useful at the moment, but once we get over to maybe 10 episodes or more than that, this is going to serve as a nice document for reference so that you can go back and find out about the previous watches featured in this watch collection series. So we're going to start off heavily today with, of course, a Rolex. This is the Daytona. This is with the 18 karat white gold case and with the gorgeous blue sunburst dial. This reference is the 116509, and to be honest with you, this watch has the perfect size and proportions for me. It's 40 millimeters in diameter. I have about 19.5 centimeter wrists, and I have tried on one of these watches before and they just sit perfectly on my wrist. Of course, this is the model with the white gold case. It's gorgeous in real life, in the pictures it just looks like steel, but in real life it does have this kind of a shimmer to it and it's just gorgeous. This watch has 100 meters of water resistance. It has the reliable and very good, actually, the 4130 movement from Rolex. It's of course entirely in-house. It has the vertical clutch so that you can run the chronograph forever, basically, if you would like to do that. It has the column wheel, it has 44 joules, a 72-hour power reserve, and yeah, overall this movement is just great. But the thing that's most interesting about this watch, and what I value the most in this one, and what makes this watch my dream Rolex, is this gorgeous blue dial with the sunburst effect and these red beautiful accents on the dial. This is the dream Rolex. Next up, we have an entirely different watch. This is a diving watch from Seiko. I am a pretty big fan of Seiko. I think they do make some great watches, and this is definitely kind of their flagship diving watch, as long as you don't get up to the Grand Seiko range. This watch is quite a chunky watch, but as I have explained before, I do have quite big wrists, so I do think this watch would fit very nicely on me. What's really interesting about this watch and many other Seikos is that they have this gorgeous case design, and the finish work on it is just fantastic. And this is quite a unique piece as well because it doesn't have a case back. So the movement and the dial is dropped in from the front. So what does this mean? Well, it's a diving watch, and not having a case back means there is one less thing that can fail when diving. In terms of the movement that's ticking along inside of this watch, you have the 8L35, which is basically an unregulated and non-decorated version of a Grand Seiko movement. So yeah, it's a decent movement. It has this really cool kind of a ratcheting clasp mechanism here for their micro adjust, and overall this watch to me is almost the perfect tool watch. Okay, and for number 3 we have another Seiko, but this time around it's a Grand Seiko, and this is my favorite Grand Seiko watch. But why is this watch my favorite Grand Seiko? Well, it's because I feel like they have incorporated everything that's iconic and that Grand Seiko do so well inside of this watch. It has a beautifully designed and finished case, kind of reminiscent of some older Grand Seiko models. It's just gorgeous. Grand Seiko and Seiko, they definitely know how to make a nice case. And not only that, of course, you also have the iconic spring drive movement inside of this watch. This movement took a long time to develop. It probably cost them a bunch of money and yeah, a bunch of patents. Overall, it's a fantastic movement. It's an icon of a movement. I think it's definitely going down in history as one of the most significant technical innovations in terms of watch movements. But of course, as this is Grand Seiko, the fun does not stop there. We also have this gorgeous blue sunburst dial, and you guys know that I am a sucker for blue dials. You have some expertly finished markers and hands, and a nice contemporary but also not too big 40mm case. This is my favorite Grand Seiko watch as of today. Okay, and now we move on to the last watch of today's episode. We have the Squale Master 60 Atmosphere watch. This is Squale's flagship piece. And if you guys have watched my previous videos, you know that I have owned 2 Squale watches in the past, and I have always been very impressed with what Squale has to offer. This, however, is on a whole other level compared to my 1521. This can be seen as Squale's flagship piece. This is Squale at their best. In terms of the movement, which by the way you can see through the case back, you have a base of the ETA 2892-A2, which is a workhorse of a movement. It's easily serviceable, etc. But this movement has been modified by Dubois, and so you have this power reserve indicator on the dial, which I definitely do love. It's one of the complications that I think don't get enough attention. It is just a fantastic complication to have, and it's probably my favorite, non-super expensive complication. This watch has 600 meters of water resistance, of course. It is limited to 300 pieces, and like with the Grand Seiko that I mentioned before, I feel like this incorporates everything that I love about Squale and their uniqueness. You have this gorgeous bezel here that operates in quite an interesting way because you have to push the bezel down to operate it. But of course, not only that, this bezel is also extremely gorgeous because you have this applied markers and then a transparent layer on top of those markers. I'm not sure if that layer is made out of something like bakelite or maybe sapphire, but nonetheless it looks gorgeous. And yeah, the overall design, the uniqueness, the unique features, and the movement just makes this a must-have Squale in my dream watch collection. So those were my 4 first watches that I would like to include in this series of the dream watch collection. Please do feel free to let me know what you guys think about my choices. If you have any suggestions, also please do leave those in the comment section down below. And what do you guys think about this video series idea and concept? Please do let me know again in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe to show your support for this series. And with that said, I'll see you in my next videos. Have a nice day. Bye bye.